Have you ever wondered why it is that for the majority of businesses, they are not able to continue after the demise of the founder? Yet there are some businesses which go on for generations after the founder might have died, retired, or perhaps sold the business. Those kinds of businesses being true testaments of legacy. So what is then the game changer between those kinds of businesses and the majority? The difference, in my view, is actually a conversation about frameworks and foundations. And so today I want to speak with you about 7 things that you need to create a business that will outlast you. The first thing is about vision. Yes, I know I've talked about this before, but we really can't get past the vision narrative. You have to be able to see it, to be able to become it. So as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you must first of all be guided and driven by a vision of a business that outlasts you. I speak all the time about transgenerational businesses. That's true legacy, and that's what I'm working for. And what that means, therefore, is that I'm also trying to build the leadership muscles in myself and my people that are relevant to that kind of long-term vision. Because you see, it's not just about you, the owner of the business, being able to see that you want to build something that outlives you. You also want to sell that same narrative to your people and communicate it to them in a way that they catch the fire. And even if you leave or you die or you sell the business, they can continue to run with it long after you're gone. The second thing you want to be sure of is that you build structure in your business. And yes, I will keep talking about this. Structure, systems, policies, procedures, a very robust governance system, and all these properly documented in manuals. One thing that is key is for you to put in place that documented, formalized delegation of authority framework and matrix that identifies key management positions that have secondary signatory authorizations so that they can act in your absence. You also want to be sure that you have a board in place. I promise you that a solid governance framework makes a key difference between the long-term legacy of your business, in the sense that there is a very high level of decision-making authority that continues to be in place after you are gone, whether by natural causes or otherwise. The third thing is this, and I'm going to dwell here a bit. People, people, people. You must invest in your people, not just the structure. You can spend all your time building structure, but unless you build the people that will run the structure, you're going to have a challenge. So yes, you want to share the vision with the people. Yes, you want to cast the strategy with them. You want to make sure that the people who are going to take over from you when you leave have capacity. All right? So, and you have to recognize that they are human beings. I believe that as entrepreneurs, as business owners, we have to make room for the personal interest and growth of our people. Let's remember that they are human as well. They are fathers, they are mothers, they are brothers and sisters. So don't be a hard-nosed boss who does not allow and make room for the human side of your people. And of course, you have to master the art of delegation. If you micromanage, you're not setting up your business for legacy. So you have to give your people the accountability, responsibility, and independence to be able to act. Remember, you're not the bastion of all knowledge. So you have to believe in your team. Yes, you started the business. Yes, you have a lot of the knowledge that has brought you to where you are so far. But you can't be a perfectionist, and you can't assume that it's all about you. Let me let you into a secret that some of us entrepreneurs don't quite realize. You're not as great as you think. You're not as knowledgeable as you think. And if you are so far, I promise you that a time is coming when your greatness all by yourself is going to minimize the potentials of your business. And believe me, I'm speaking from personal experience. So learn to share your responsibilities with your team. Let them learn through their mistakes. Invest in them. And this is one of the ways that you ensure that whether you're there or not, you have created a framework and handed it to people that are able to run with your vision and keep it going long after you're gone. Entrepreneurial people who have the same spirit and resilience that you do. The fourth thing that you need to do is this. Make sure that you put a succession plan in place. You want a properly thought through written succession plan and a strategy that ensures that everybody is clear what happens if you die, what happens if you retire. Of course, if you sell the business, new investors can determine that. And when you determine your succession plan, make sure that your succession pipeline is also properly de-risked. So try to identify those key man risk positions and put shadow replacements early in the journey so that you don't lose any of your key people and have no one to step into that role. As much as is possible within the system that you already have, let your plan actually clearly name the specific individuals that you have in mind for specific roles and what the process should be for the transition at your point of exit or perhaps death. It's very important in this place of building a succession pipeline and the succession plan that you put in place the necessary mentoring and coaching frameworks that allow people to build that kind of leadership capacity that will then support the process at the time of your exit. The fifth thing is this: depersonalize your brand. Build that next generation of leaders intentionally. So I am constantly amazed by how many entrepreneurs and business owners just want to wallow in the limelight. Listen, your business is supposed to outlast you, and that means that at some point in time, you will not be the be-all and end-all of the business. Ideally, you should have more than one visible and influential individual and leader in your business. I want to take a quote from author J. Kelly Hoey, the author of Build Your Dream Network. And he said something. He said that a leader builds the employees so that they can be as successful as, if not more successful than him, recognizing that they are not in competition, they're actually a core part of your team. And I think it's important for us as business leaders to recognize that our own lights are not dimmed when our people shine. So yes, you may be the face of the company, but please try to make sure that there are other significant people who have visibility amongst your stakeholders within the business and around the business, so that if you're not there, they feel equally free to transact with them and have the same sense of confidence that they're dealing with competent individuals. Indeed, if your brand is so internally linked with your person, what it means is that it can have a negative impact to the degree that some people may feel that since you're no longer in the business, then the business is no longer worthy of delivering the same kind of service levels and quality, for instance, that it used to deliver in your time. So don't shoot yourself in the foot by making your business and your brand all about you. The sixth thing we want to look at is the question of sustainability. So beyond structure, beyond people, beyond your succession plan and the like, is the issue of how much you have incorporated the sustainability element into your business. So you need to be thinking about, and constantly too, how you're delivering value to your stakeholders, both your internal stakeholders and your external stakeholders, because you're trying to build mutually beneficial and lasting, socially responsible relationships at that. So research has actually shown that businesses that pay attention to the 3 Ps, that is the people, the planet, and the profits, they tend to outlive their founders and the pioneers in the business. So as you're thinking about building a business that outlasts you, pay attention to the sustainability elements of your business. I promise you, it's just not a nice cliche. It's a real proven, tested fact that sustainability makes for legacy. The 7th thing I want to share with you today is this: plan your estate. Yes, I know we don't like to go there, but you know what I say is that death is a guaranteed. So this is not one of those "it's not my portion" conversations. Let's go there. We're all going to die. And when you're running a business, you want to plan for what happens when you do die, no matter when that is going to happen, of which you and I are not in control. So in your business, you want to create, first of all, you want to include your business in your estate planning. And in saying this, I'm assuming first and foremost that you have a will. If you don't, I'm happy to come back and have another conversation with you about setting up a will, setting up a trust, and planning your estate. But for your business, you want to be able to answer questions such as, how do you want your shares to be distributed when you die? Does your business have any of your personal assets in its possession? Did you perhaps use your personal house to pledge as collateral to a bank? And if yes, how would you want that to be treated when you're no longer there? Do you want a family member to come in and take over your place on the board of your company, for instance, based on you being perhaps a significant shareholder? What do you want to happen to the dividends that come from your business when you die? Do you want them to go to a foundation? Do you want them to be shared amongst your children? Do you want them to go to other family members? So you need to have these and many more robust conversations about your expectations for what will happen to your business and the shares you have and the assets you have in your business when you're no longer there. And you want this to be documented, incorporated into some legacy estate planning document, filed away properly. I tell you what, not only does this give you peace of mind as to all the work you're doing, how it's going to end up, but it also prevents some of the unnecessary family squabbles that tend to come up because people didn't plan what would happen to their businesses, their shares and assets in the process of their lives and for when they are no longer there. If you don't do this, let me tell you that everything you've worked for in the course of running this business can literally be dissipated on the back of a long and very difficult probate matter. And I'm sure you don't want that to happen. William James said this. He said that the greatest use of life is to spend it on something that will outlast it. So I've been speaking about the 7 things you need to do to build a business that outlasts you. I've talked about vision, I've talked about structure, I've talked about your people, a succession plan, depersonalizing your brand, looking at the sustainability element, and as well as putting in place an estate plan. And for me, this is ultimately a very timely conversation, thinking through from the beginning and for whatever phase you are at now about your exit, which ultimately is going to happen. And that end goal of ensuring that all the work you've done over the past few years, in my case now almost 3 decades, doesn't just fritter away at the end of the day. Remember, you won't be here forever. And remember that death is a given. Remember that no one knows the last day. So let me ask you that. Take some time today and begin to think through the things you need to change and put in place to build a business that outlasts you. Remember, it's not just about profits, it's about people, it's about the planet, it's about sustainability. And for me, that is a vision worth having. So I hope these tips were useful to you today. And if they were, drop me a comment. Again, if you're interested in business coaching, send me an email, audrey@audreyjoeizigbo.com. Take care.